Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Mental Threads podcast. This is the 46th edition. I am here with Dean Joy Hartfield. Yeah, I had to look at the tag for a second because I didn't know what her first name was. But yeah, she's the Dean of Students, correct?
Yes, Assistant Vice Chancellor and Dean of Students.
Yes, that's a lot. I don't think I can remember that.
It's
Top of my
fine.
head.
Dean Hartfield's fine.
Yeah, Dean Hartfield. And it's like before coming to an HBCU, I understand you basically were going to PWIs mostly.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background. So I do work here serving our students here at NCCU. But before coming here, I did work at PWIs. And so directly before here, I was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So beautiful campus, beautiful institution, brilliant students, but very different culturally. And so even though I am an African-American woman, I did experience culture shock actually coming to NCCU as far as my difference in work environment and just culture. It was very different. It was very different.
I bet it was, man. I went to predominantly white schools my whole life, and I'm telling you, it wasn't the best experience. Really, really wasn't. Like, I'm pretty sure the most positive experiences I ever had school-wise consistently was definitely at NCCU. I ain't never had no problems with teachers, nothing. Have good relationships with all my instructors and everything. So if I see them, I just say hi and everything and be conversational if I want to. And it's like, since it wasn't until I came to this school that I really actually got to be like more academically, not put on a pedestal in a sense, but just kind of like, that's why I realized myself as an honor roll student was here. And I didn't even think, me and honor roll student was just in the same sense. I didn't even consider it. I know I said it in the last episode. So it's just like, in terms of how the environment kind of switched up between there and here and stuff of that nature, what are some things that, you like? And what are things that kind of inspire you to like really take your position as Dean of Students?
Yeah, so I think I liked a lot of things that you said because, some people can take it. You could take that one of two ways to say, you've come here and this is your opportunity or the time you've had to flourish. And I think that has a lot to do with the support system and an environment that may be conducive to your educational success. And so this may be the best environment for you to be able to really flourish academically. And so that's awesome. I think that's the case for a lot of students who choose to come to HBCU. I'm here because I see myself in the students who attend here, and I understand the students here in a way that and connect in a way that, you may not necessarily consistently do at a PWI. And so here, I understand when you get frustrated and you react a certain way, I can read you a little bit better. I can better, see what's happening. Or if you get really angry in a certain scenario, I'm like, I know what that looks like. I recognize that fundamentally, not just as a practitioner in my field, but also as a Black woman. I can see that in your eyes, what is happening being around a lot of other Black women in my own family and my own friends, for the most part. And so that familiarity and that, recognition of, body language and verbiage, all of that helps me to be able to serve the students here much better, which makes it a better experience when they're interacting with me and gives them that trust that they need to know I can go to my dean if I need something, or Dean Hartfield don't play that. Yeah, you're right. And so, and you know that, but you also know I have your back because of that connection that I have to be able to serve you better.
So people come to you basically just there, something like they're kind of like grind their gears a little bit, like they're just kind of frustrated with something.
No, it's a combination of things. And so a lot of the work kind of centers around care and concern and crisis response. I can say that. So my areas of responsibility are the Office of Student Conduct. So you actually saw Mrs. Highsmith, the director, a few minutes ago, and so she's a member of my team. The Office of Student Advocacy. So that's Miss Starr, who can help with books and things like that. Case management in the Office of the Dean of Students is also the area. And then we have our initiatives, our transitions pantry, our community central initiative. I'm not sure if you went on our walk the other week, and things like that. And so when something happens on campus, like a bad fight or someone goes to the hospital or, any type of serious incident, the police immediately call me. And so I would be that first point of contact for response. So do I need to go to the hospital to meet that student? Is the student okay? Are they alert? Did you call mama? Do I need to call mama? Depending on what has happened. If there is unfortunately a student death, that's something that my office leads the process for. So, contacting all the necessary people, getting spiritual development dialogue, Pastor Gloria, getting her here on campus, counseling, everything from the immediate all the way to the, do we need to bus some folks to the funeral? All right, let's get them back. How are we going, how am I going to make sure it's paid for? I need to close out your financial aid record, so I collaborate with all the campus partners and pull them together in an emergency meeting. So there's a combination of things that we're responsible for, but behavioral issues, anybody who's in crisis, say someone has a mental health kind of meltdown, but they haven't violated the code of conduct, but they're not well. We have to assess that to see, are you okay to be here? Are you okay? What can we do to make sure that you're okay? And we build a plan around you if we need to do that. And so that's a team, a BIT team. Then we have the SART, Sexual Assault Response Team. And so that's a thing. And then just miscellaneous issues that students may have. Someone may have a hold on their account for something and they're like, I don't know why this is here. And it's like, okay, well, let's walk through it. Or, someone may have an issue with the professor and they're not able to communicate well together. All right, how do we get that resolved? What do we need to do? So it can be, a myriad of things that students are needing, but they know who to come to if they're not quite sure where to go.
Okay. Would you attribute that to like a Mother Goose type archetype, just saying, or it's just like just caregiving type stuff? That would you attribute it kind of something similar to that? Or?
I think my personal style probably does, kind of mimic some of those characteristics. My style being more, caring and, I recognize the importance of connecting. Connecting with who you are as a person is not just, you're a student here. No, you're not a number. You're a human being. And I'm looking at you. I'm like, yes, this is the kid who had the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life in the MAC. And I went home and told my husband that joke, and he also laughed. That, I'm not going to repeat what you said, but it was funny. About that boy looking like the Grinch with his green sweater on. Oh, goodness, that was a good one.
Oh, you were right there?
I was right beside you.
I didn't oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we just kind of all blend in together. So it's just like, I'd be thinking like, it's just, you don't really realize that like, some of the staff, like you're just staff, but sometimes you blend in with us and it's just kind of hard to tell.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you were there or not and everything, because it's just like, I know you're sitting next to me around. I didn't think you were there to hear that.
I mean, I wasn't, but then someone told a joke and everybody kept talking, and I did have on a t-shirt. I slipped my t-shirt on because I was eating a real messy lunch and I didn't want to get my dress dirty. But somebody made a joke, and then you came in and your joke was it was good. It was hilarious. And it was funny, but that's what I see. I don't just see, the student who maybe you have this, this argument with, one of the guys in the MAC. No, but you also are the kid who has come here and does really well academically, who also maybe had a super great time, turning up last week. You're not just one thing. You're a culmination of beautiful things, and I'm here to help be a part of that. And so when I see that, you're willing to let me help you. And that's the joy of it for me. So even if it's me getting on to you, or if it's me encouraging you, or if it's me directing you to a resource, I'm helping to build this person who's going to be able to stand on their own and succeed as an adult when you leave here, in the way that I'm supporting you, that challenge and that support.
Okay, well, that's great that you kind of bring up that joke. Also, I know. I mean, I feel like there might be some listeners that might listen and wonder, like, what kind of joke are they talking about? Okay. See, I have a friend named Alejandro and whatnot. Who's wearing like a green long sleeve shirt, and people would just be ripping on him for the long green shirt. And he also had a little Habib or something around, like covering on his head, like a little Middle Eastern Habib or whatever. And people were just kind of like, what's it called? Hijab?
I think it's a hijab when women wear it, I believe.
Okay,
So.
it's a hijab or something. Like it's like he wore a green shirt and a white and black hijab. It was kind of mismatching and everything, and people were just kind of looking at him all weird about it, or just kind of like roasting him a little bit. And I'm just like, he kind of looks a whole lot like the Grinch that stole Ramadan, and a lot of people were just kind of laughing at that. It was just in my head because when he said like something about his clothes, like oh they match, it's like that don't match at all, and it's just like that was just the first thing that popped in my head. I mean, I guess that's just a wonderful thing about this environment too, because it's like it kind of brings me back to my roots where I was kind of like the class clown in class. Like, I'm more like chill right now and everything, because I don't really try too much. I'm more focused on my work and everything. But it's just like I feel like that's the healing part about being at a HBCU and everything. But this was a whole lot of stuff I had to deal with before I even came here that I'm still in a sense trying to heal from and everything. And it's still like a process. And I feel like this place has really shown me that like there's always is going to be people that support you in all sorts of matters too. So it's like when you bring up things like like how like you're basically like a the huge like caregiver and everything, where you're pretty much there for students who are in the hospital and they're going through a certain crisis and stuff of that nature. I feel like that's a very good position that you're filling, and as an individual, and one that kind of just falls in sync with a lot of your qualities from what I'm seeing and stuff of that nature. But I feel like that's just the beauty of like going to an HBCU. It's like I feel like there's just nothing but love all around. I know I was going through a very, very tough time not too long ago in September, where I feel like I was reaching my lowest because I'm struggling with a certain medical condition that I've been dealing with since like I was 18, and I have no clue what the cure is. We're still trying to find that cure and everything. I think there's something coming from me straight out my native Liberia that might help my situation, but we won't know what's till we know. Just know I've been going to spiritual guys. They said I'm gonna get through it and everything. And dude was really accurate on a whole lot of stuff. So it's just like I just had to learn just to let it go and just not worry. And it's just like what really kind of upset me in September was just like I feel like I lost a whole lot of time, and that's just kind of pushed me to feeling like kind of suicidal myself. But I don't want to talk too much about me. It's just noticing that like even when I spoke to people about it, like even in the Men's Achievement Centers, you could say like it's just like you don't really expect people to kind of reach out to you and everything, and then you realize even Alejandro, the same one I was talking about, the Grinch, and even July, the same one that was laughing the most about it. They were one of the main two people that came to check on me like personally, and then it's just like everybody just saying like, hey, we got you, we're here for you. And everything, and the thing, they don't even make you feel bad about it and everything. They're just like, they just treat you like every other day. It's like the same and everything, It's like sometimes I don't even remember that they even happened in September. And that's a lot of it because like people don't put it in your face or nothing. Like, oh, remember that time in September when, because that's all the people I had back then were just folk that just kind of like put my flaws and my problems back in my face. I just kind of forgot about it. And I feel that's a wondrous environment. It's like what I had in HBCU, So it's just like, it's just kind of bittersweet how it's like I really couldn't take all the HBCU experience all together because of this condition and everything. Because I wish if not, I would have been like 100% like all the time. I'm more like 65, like 50% most of the time. But it's like, but it's still a blessing that I even touched down here for so many years and everything, and it's just stuff of that nature. Would you say like, like I don't say your life has been, like, how long have you been pretty much doing the whole deans and students thing? Like, how long have you been doing it for again?
Well, so you zoom right into this one. So I wanted to say that the awesome thing about being in the space is, and this is, I'm gonna answer your question, but I wanted to comment, is community. And that, my husband laughs at me all the time. He's like, oh, student affairs for free. Even when we're at home and we're watching like something, and I'm like, oh, look, the story is about building community and people being there for each other. And I love that stuff. Like that resonates with me. And that is one of the differences about being in an HBCU setting, is that there's sort of a layer that you get to skip. Like there's a step you skip, because there is somewhat of a shared experience for a majority of the students here, even though you all are so different. You have your own backgrounds, you were raised in your own ways, even if you're from the same town. There's so much diversity even within the institution, but there's also an overall shared experience that you can automatically connect on. And so when you then within that find a community like the one that you're a part of, with people who genuinely are there for you, you can't get any better than that. That's what it's all about, is having people that you can uplift, but people who are going to uplift you when you're not well too, but also people who really have your genuine interest at heart. Because we know. So any like how Santa Claus knows everything, I know everything. And my job is to make sure that whatever we put in place, you get to choose how you want to engage with the resources, but somebody's going to make sure they check in on you. It's up to you if you want to, call them back or come see them. But we're going to come and make sure you know. So at the end of the day, you know that there's somebody here for you. But when you're able to have that on your own too, that's so powerful. So I'm glad that those guys were able to be there for you, and that's empowering, and it should give you, it's that uplift you need when you can't, when you're not 100%. They can fill in the gaps and give you what you need to be like, wow, you care. You came and checked on me, not from a judgmental place, but from you're my brother, and you're my sister, or you my dean, and you care, you really care. So I just wanted to speak to that. But I've worked here for 5 years. And so, and like I said, before that I was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Before that I was at the University of Central Arkansas. So I've known since I was a first year student in my graduate program that I wanted to be a dean. That was the goal for me. Some people want to be a president or a vice president, which is what Dr. Coleman does. She's vice president, right? And she's my boss. But I wanted to be the dean of students. I did my practicum experience for my graduate program in the dean's office, and doing conduct and hearing cases, and having mediations and behavioral correction meetings, and just create new initiatives. And I knew that I loved it. I knew that I was good at it, even at a PWI, where I'm able to find that common ground even there. And it can be a little tricky sometimes, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so when my husband and I went to Wisconsin, I think I pretty quickly figured out I needed to not be there for too long. Like I said, it's a gorgeous place, beautiful, beautiful place. Beautiful, just aesthetically, you can't get more beautiful than Wisconsin. But it wasn't the right fit, just community wise for us. A lot of good people there, but I think we were looking for something a little bit different, or we're needing something a little bit different for us outside of work. Considering how taxing it can be working in a space like a Wisconsin. Babies there. That picture on my wall, I know you all can't see it on the podcast, but you see a lot of those people in that picture. Those were some of my students from Wisconsin. In that picture in the middle that says "We love joy." Yeah, you see their little faces.
Oh yeah, no, it's light up.
You see only a couple of brown faces up there. And most of my students, like, that was my staff, so I picked the students who were on there. But a lot of the staffs didn't have a lot of brown folks. A lot of the students weren't brown students, and a lot of them had never even been around black people before. So the first time you're around somebody and they're your supervisor, you don't even know how to interact, because it doesn't naturally occur to you to just treat them like a regular day. Maybe they're just a regular person, but because I do have differences, because it's they don't want to say the wrong thing, but then sometimes they do say the wrong thing, and when they do, I'm still their educator. So just like one of y'all may come in here sassy with an attitude and then forget who you're talking to, and I have to remind you the same thing. They may come in and say something super inappropriate, and I'm like, hey, even though it's harmful to me, you being sassy, I can address that and move on. But you saying something that may be a microaggression, or you may have accidentally said something racist to me, I'm still your educator, so now I have to figure out how to correct that. But now I also have to deal with the fact that somebody said something that was impactful. And that's a lot. That's a lot. And so you need community outside of work to help recenter you and help you to be in a good place. And so we needed to transition from there to find more of that. So North Carolina, we both work in higher ed, so North Carolina has tons of schools. And we decided we were going to move to Raleigh-Durham area. And my husband got a job at Elon University, and I got a job here at NCCU. So he then transitioned here. He works here as well now. because I was having a really powerful experience. It definitely can be challenging at times. And like I said, it's different than what I was trained in. However, people are people, and my people are my people, and my babies are my babies. And so, you know, that's that. I hope I answered your question. I don't even remember what it was.
No. I mean, regardless of the answer, it's a podcast. It's a conversation first. So it's like, as long as you feel like you well express yourself and for other people to kind of just take it in, that's pretty much all that matters, really. But it's like, wow, that's a very wonderful way of looking at it. I know I got a comment. It's like, 'cause it's like, yeah, I remember like being in like situations where I've been like mostly like, I don't want to say the only black person in the room, because it's like, a lot of these schools there'd still be a couple black people, but it's just like, considering that it would be predominantly white and so on, it was just I had to deal with the stigmas of having to kind of like blend in with that culture, but at the same time being kind of distanced from my own culture. So it's like you kind of feel like you're more isolated, like more of an enigma in a sense. So you kind of had to deal with that backdraft and everything. It's just the horrors I had to deal with, man. I don't know like the horrors, but it's just like there were points where I had like very good times and times where I was happy, but then there was also times where it just kind of just straight up traumatic. And just stuff I'm still to even this day, like I'm 23, I'm still trying to heal from like things that happened like in middle school, things that happened in high school, things that happened in community college and everything. Since my tenure here, there's really nothing that went wrong in a sense at NCCU, but it's still like a sense like I'm still trying to heal from these issues that happened in the past. That in a sense it kind of took away from the experience a lot here, because I'm still trying to focus on that and everything. But I feel like this has been a very good healing experience for me also, because of the sense, but that's just life as it is as a whole. And I just think it's just wonderful that, like we all fall in sync with our roles in the future. There's some people in life that shouldn't be teachers, some people that just become teachers just because they like to domineer, because they want to, I guess maybe there are points where they felt weak, and so when they're in a position of power, they can be like looking down on people and blah, blah, blah. And then we have those staff that actually love their job, that are dedicated to their job. So just hearing like the stuff that you're saying and everything, I'm pretty much convinced that you do love your job and that you actually have a dedication to the students here at NCCU and everything. I understand it's just like, even like, you're not really like you used to be kind of an educator, but it's like now you're just a caregiver basically now.
Oh, that's hilarious. So my degrees, well, my first degree is in communication with a concentration in PR, but my master's degree is in college student personnel services and administration. So my education is in being an educator in the college level. So I'm not a professor. Well, I teach, I'm an instructor. I teach some, courses. However, as an educator is not just a person who teaches in the classroom. Now, those are the people, my hat's off to those folks, especially ones in K-12, who do that. God bless them, because that's God's work. However, if someone comes in here and they're frustrated, right? And they come in and they are sassy. And I say that because it's a lot of attitude going around here in this brand new little class. Also, they're sophomores and freshmen. Got a little attitude. Well, before I engage with you, because I'm not the customer service lady at Apple. Now, you shouldn't be talking to her wild either. But I think some people get it confused to think, oh, you're just here as a customer service person. Or particularly other people at campus. Most of the students here are aware that that's not how we're going to engage. However, when you come to the door, no one may have checked you on the fact that that's not okay. No one may have informed you or taken the time to say, not only are you not going to talk to me like that, let me explain to you why that's not okay. That's my responsibility as an educator. I don't get to just say, you can get out of my office. I'm not going to talk to you. You don't talk to me like that. Now, I can tell you can come back if you can't get it together right now. We're not going to talk right now if you can't. But that's not the end of the conversation for me, because I have a responsibility as an educator. Outside of the classroom, there's a lot of learning that happens. That's why so many people are employed. That's why student affairs is a whole division. So housing, that's outside of the classroom. Career services, that's outside of the classroom. Student engagement and all their events and activities, that's outside of the classroom. There has to be learning done there, and people have to be equipped as educators to be able to do that. The LGBT QA plus resource center, there's learning that happens. They do workshops, they teach outside of the classroom. So I have certain responsibilities to make sure that I'm sharing with you and
Just make sure. Yeah,
okay, share it with you and educating beyond the books. Because I can't help you with anybody's math. You come in here, we can pray. I can go help you find a tutor. We will go to the ends of the earth looking for a tutor. You know, I got some people I went to college with. They're engineers. One of my line sisters, she's the smartest person ever. I can't help you, so I will call or phone a friend. But what I can do is provide the direction in a lot of different other ways, and talk about decision making. We talk about resolving conflict. We talk about self-awareness. You know, we talk about your care for yourself. The critical component of having community for anybody, but in particular, it comes really in handy when you're in distress or something rough is going on, to have people around you who love you. For somebody to coach you on that, those are the life skills that you need to go along with your career readiness. So I need you to be able to go work a job and do really well, or go start your business and do really well. But I also need you to know how to do life and to think beyond what you came here being able to process. Mm-hmm. You came here thinking a certain way. I need to be able to help you expand that by the time you leave. And that is a part of my responsibility as an educator.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely got to expand it for sure. Kind of having a little bit of a lecture on this podcast.
Oh, my bad.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Ain't nothing wrong. No, this is a good lecture. I don't mean lecture as in a bad lecture, like your mom's looking down. Not bad mother goose lecture, just more like, oh yeah, here's some things, like learn. But yeah, that's wondrous. It's very wondrous that you actually put in that perspective and everything. I know, like, you know, a lot of y'all have a whole lot more impacts in our lives than most of our parents do, to be honest, because it's like, you know, y'all have different perspectives on life and everything. You know, my folks were like immigrants and so on, and like, you know, they give me everything they got and so on, but it's like most of the time I'm around like teachers and instructors anyway. So it's like, it's good that the relationship actually stays like positive in a sense. So, and so it's just like, you know, would you say, like, you know, in relationship with a lot of your students, like in the past and even till now, like the students you have to deal with now and everything, would you say, like, I don't want to say like, you know, it's impactful for sure, but could you bring up like a time or maybe like a moment where it's just like, you know, where a student maybe was going through a very, very rough period of time, and maybe like you probably like help them like reset their mindset, or maybe would help them or maybe assist them through that very struggling time and whatnot?
Absolutely. So, you know, the thing about jobs in higher ed, a lot of educators is we don't always get the immediate thank you. And depending on your job, you may not hear it. You may just happen to see somebody be successful one day and you're like, oh my gosh, I know that kid. And you're like, oh, I know I had something to do with their success. That's exciting. That's awesome. And sometimes that has to be enough because they may never tell you, right? You know the impact. So even if you come in here and you ask me for something and I say no, I may know at that moment me saying no was the best thing for you. You may not have known that in the moment, and you may be mad, but I can rest at night knowing, I know I did the right thing. Even though you're mad now, you may realize a little bit later, or you may not. But if I had said yes in that moment, I would have caused you harm. But you may not have recognized that. So, you know, can't always give you what you want. I lost track of my thoughts. I was sitting here looking at you. What were we talking about? Let's go back.
That's how you can get it back together.
I'm trying to remember what we talked about back then.
Probably that point we should probably go to commercials and everything. Like, oh, this is brought to you by Sonics.
Yeah, touch space. Touch space. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna hop in there and just start talking about, you know. So for real, what was your last question?
I mean, it was mostly just like just a moment like where you probably were just helping a student.
Gotcha, there we go. Yeah. An example. Sure. So I think some of my biggest examples of students coming back around, when it comes to helping them, there's usually an immediate expression of gratitude, just a thank you. You know, or send an email back, or sometimes students will, you know, cry out of just, you know, if you don't know how something's going to get resolved, it could seem like the end of the world. It could just seem like, oh, I can't get my advisor on email. I can't register for classes. If I can't register for classes, I can't go to school. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to go to school. And it's like, okay, you went from 0 to 100, and I have a solution for you. So let's figure it out. Boom, boom, boom. We're good. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You know, that type of thing. I think the most impactful for me was during my time as a director of student conduct, um, having students who I had to send some of them home. And that was a hard decision. Well, sometimes it was easy. Sometimes students made it real easy. But it would be hard if it's like, you're a phenomenal young person after sitting and talking with you. However, you did this thing and I have to hold you accountable. And here's the option, that I have here. So, but to see those students who I had to suspend because they weren't ready to be here at that time. They were making decisions that were harmful to themselves or harmful to others. And the right decision was, I have to separate you from university. But when that student then comes back the next year and they're like, you know what? That had to happen. Had you not sent me home, I would have continued to make these bad decisions, or I would have continued to get bad grades because I wasn't ready or I wasn't focused. But now I'm ready. And they come back and then they soar. That's the best. That's the best thing. I still have a note from, I think, 4 years ago when a young man, I did have to separate him from university, and he came back and he wrote a note to me, and he just thanked me for suspending him from school and said that was the best thing that had ever happened to him in his young adult life, and he told me all the great things he was doing and how he was doing well and, back in school and all that. And I couldn't have been prouder of him, but grateful to be able to be a part of his journey, even though at that time he was big mad. And I understood, but I still made the right decision based on what I knew was the right thing to do. And I could always stand up on that.
Oh yeah, surely, man, most definitely. Like seriously, like a lot of us really go through different stages in life and everything. There's like one moment with like all your focus on is like this thing, then another thing. I know like in my evolution as a student and everything, like in elementary school, like I was too much of a daydreamer and everything. I didn't really care too much about school. Like I thought school was just a place to kind of hang out with friends type, or just it was just stuff in between that we just kind of had to balance it out with, and everything. And that was the time. And then middle school, I was just kind of like just trying to make it and trying to like do the best I can, but then there was always something going on, so I couldn't really focus. Same thing with high school, so to a certain degree and everything. It just felt like I was just kind of winging it. I was just trying to get to the next spot and everything. I didn't really like the high school either. In community college, I just completely broke me down and everything. I just didn't know where I was going, what I was gonna do and everything. I separated from so many people and so on. And then it's just like trying to really rebuild myself, and then it just led me here. And all it really takes is the courage to really take that next step, just realize that it's just like, sometimes you got to look inward, and sometimes you just got to stop messing with the same circles of people. It's just like, I can't really imagine how many times it's just like my heart was just broken by just people who I thought were like really friends of mine and everything. I'll tell you, man, I still look back at it from time to time and everything. You're heartbroken from moment to moment, time from time again. Friends turn their back on you, people who you thought were your friends, and they really weren't. And then it's just like a lot of that really breaks down your spirit. You end up being like humiliated, embarrassed, all types of ways for things that just could have been knocked out in 5 to 10 like minute conversations. Things go on in the background. Your friends don't support you. They don't really like warn you or nothing. You basically do everything for them that they wouldn't even do for you. And it's just like, I feel like people like that, are always the ones that get hurt the most throughout life. And then just moving forward, trying to learn to just make friends again, connect with others again, but at the same time try to set boundaries and probably keep your distances and to kind of like help you out, to just kind of just protect your mental health. It's just one of those things that we all have to go through in a sense. So it's just like, it's just, I just kept pushing, and here I am now. I'm on my way to graduate too. I'm literally talking to my friends out there, they want to come to my graduation party and everything in December. And just realized I tried to make a list, and I'm like, wow, I really got a long list of people that might show up to my graduation party. And I had no clue. I feel like a lot of things in life, when it comes to just, transition as a student and everything, it's just kind of realizing that everything that you lost really isn't really a loss. And that a lot of like things that are coming in your life, it's on their way. It's not really just, I'm still young and so on. I'm sure he was young too. So it's just like for him to just even thank you and let you know that like, what you stood for in his life, that's just, I feel like that's what a true educator would do and everything to pretty much set the standard and stuff of that nature. So it's just stuff like that. It's just like you really never know where you're gonna go until you keep pushing forward. And it's like I feel like that's just a wonderful thing that a lot of us has pretty much found during our time at NCCU. A lot of people dropped out. I had friends who came here that just couldn't do it, and there's just some people that just couldn't do it for some reason. I'm still here. Through God, I'm still here. And that's just it. It's all just a matter of like how we get through this journey. So it's just like I feel like that's wonderful that you have such an impact on this guy's life. Although it's like you pretty much went into detail on like what he did, right, to pretty much get suspended. Right? You don't have to explain if you don't want to.
Hazing.
Just hazing. Okay, yeah, that seems
Yeah,
about right.
That. Hazing.
And he pretty much has a degree right now, right?
He does. He does that, yeah. And I, oddly enough, I tell students all the time. Actually, I told a young lady, was it yesterday? My days running together. Yesterday or day before, some young ladies who got into it real bad, and both of them happened to know me just from different interactions on campus. Now, both of them were wrong. One of them was wronger than the other one. But I'm gonna call Dean Hartfield. She got me. Now you know better. You can call me, but let me remind you, I've had to suspend my favorite student. Now, everybody's my favorite now, but back in the day, my favorite, oh, my sweet baby. If he came and asked me for my last $5 today, I would make sure it was okay with my husband, but I would say, can we please get his baby this $5 because I just can't let him go without. Sweetest person on earth. He made an error that he should not. He made a poor decision, poor judgment call. And I had to suspend my favorite student. I told her that story last night to let her know, as much as I adore you, if you go out here and do what you want to do, what you would telling this person you were going to do to them, that I will suspend you as well. Do you understand that? And so, I won't suspend them. The director of student conduct who reports to me will suspend them. So, but yes, you have to do what you're supposed to. Repeat your question because I got lost again.
No, it's like we're pretty much going to conversations about just, I know like last time it was just basically when you help the student and everything, and then we transitioned to just basically how like, students can pretty much change over time and at times, it's just like, for instance, like with that one student you had to kick off and then like for hazing and then he came back 4 years and now you're speaking about like just how other students are basically like, just how they're like, even though they were your favorite, they're that you have a deep love for them, like you still had to suspend them, and that's okay. It's great to be dutiful. Duty has to stand first and everything. I remember the first time I was suspended, like from college. I think that was
You got
way
suspended
back.
in college?
Yeah, it was community college. Same community college I have an issue with. It was mostly because I was just writing like my Snapchat tag like all over like the walls and everything, and like the in the libraries and stuff.
Ooh,
so
you can't do that.
yeah, so it's like they saw it as graffiti. So it's just like
Vandalism, graffiti, all that.
basically, and they had to get all the police to come into my first block class. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, we're looking for teeth, I'm just like, that's me. Yeah. Did I do something? Like, I hope that nobody framed me for something. It's like, oh no, you're just graffitiing. And I'm like, oh, the Snapchat tag.
Yeah, that.
I didn't think it was such a big deal because it was just like people write on the walls all the time, and it's just, but I guess they never write their names or their.
How big? Did you write? Yeah. How big was the writing?
It was just a little bit. It was just like enough to just like for somebody to just see it, but not too much and everything. Like I did with a permanent marker. That's what I'm saying. Man, I mean, I pretty much got it off now, but it's like, that was so long ago, man. I remember I was how old? I was 18, 19 years old, I think, when that happened. Gosh, I'm literally 23. I'm old now. I'm young, but I'm old.
Yeah.
And everything. It's just like my mindset is so different. Like I'm still have like a sense of anxiety and depression, but it's like I manage everything to like a more like channeled sense. It's just like now it's just like, yeah, man.
I remember what I was going to say to you. I was going to say all the heartbreak, all of the, friendships not working out, the betrayals, or you doing so much for folks and then them falling short of, remotely being able to do the same for you. All of that is part of growing up. that's the not so comfortable part of developing into who you are, because you're learning about you, you're learning about others, you're learning who is there for you, who can be there for you. Sometimes people, it's not that they just don't want to or don't think you deserve that. People have their own stuff and they can hurt you while they're trying to figure out who they are. Some people have no idea who they are. And, some people just making bad judgment calls. I mean, you're 19 years old, you gonna hurt some people's feelings. Like, that's the reality. You at a college setting, but the awesome thing is that you're in a protected setting, more so, where there are people around who anticipate that. There's certain high points in the semester, like there are trends that are going to happen. I know within the first couple of weeks of school what types of behaviors to expect. I know that second chunk of the second few weeks, then I know within that month span some things I need to anticipate. I know in this last little stretch I know exactly what's going to start happening, what calls I'm going to start getting because of the trends. Now COVID has switched that up just a little, has shifted some of that just a little, but you as individuals, as students in the setting all together, certain things are you can anticipate, you can study and research and understand. All right, we're going to have probably a depressive state during the time where daylight savings comes, where a lot of people are going to not get a lot less sunlight, or darkness can depress more students. All right, so now I need to keep an eye out for those who are going to be struggling with academics and with this weather, and they may not even realize that the weather is a part of it. And so it's a ton of different things. But my point being, all the stuff that sucked that you're like, I'm still recovering from that, even your recovery is a part of your journey. Even you realize how placing, where does all that stuff that happened, where does that fit within your life? What did it mean? Was some of it just useless? Why did people treat me that way? I did nothing to deserve that. What did I do? What is wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. We're all trying to figure it out. We're all trying to make it. And everybody doesn't mean you well. Everybody doesn't mean you harm. But those are the things you have to figure out as you're building your tribe and your community and learning who you are. So even though that sucks, and it does, I've experienced, hurt. I now have hurt people. Just like I've, been hurt and been impacted. And I've been a good friend and I've been a not so good friend, Personally, I get so busy with work that I could be a better friend, where I could spend more time. And so, but that's a part of growing up and a part of learning about who you are and the types of people you want around you. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, sometimes I feel like I needed to hear that stuff for like a while though, but it's just like, considering how like we don't really even talk like that, we're just more on some like casual type hello and everything of that nature. It just really adds on to the legacy of like going to an HBCU. I said all my kids are definitely going to go to HBCU for sure. So if they're hearing this like right now, like 20, 30 years in the future, I don't know, how old am I? Okay, I'm 23. Yeah, that's about right. 20, 30 years in the future. Go to an HBCU, please.
If that's the best decision for you.
It is the best decision.
You don't even know them yet. Leave them alone.
I'm just saying, like, it's just like, don't even put yourself in that predicament. I'm not trying to like look down at PWIs. I mean, I'm just saying, like, even if like a PWI try to get you for like playing sports or anything, just take your talents to an HBCU, please. Show them what's baller at that HBCU. They can't mess with no HBCU. Go to Howard University, something like that. Go to a major one.
So never let someone tell you that HBCUs are lesser than. How about that? And you make the decision that's best for you holistically. I'm a product of PWIs. So I never thought of it like that while I was going to school, is that I'm a product of PWIs. But I am here serving our students, and I believe doing so very well. And I'm not a product of an HBCU. But
That's all right.
I'm here. I'm thinking. I was pausing for a second.
Brought to you by Sonics. Once again.
You are silly. I'm not a product of an HBCU, but I believe that my education prepared me, and my experiences prepared me to be right where I'm supposed to be. And so everybody's journey is their own. And when you're, if you are someone who has spirituality, or or you're a spiritual person, or you're guided. For me, I believe that I believe in God, and I believe that I'm guided and given peace by God. That is my personal belief. Not to be forced on anyone else. And everyone has their space and their rights, and I'm here to protect that. But for me, you know, I believe that if it was my purpose to come here with the set of experiences that came from an HBCU, that's what I would have. And so this is where God wants me to be. I feel that and know that at this time. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I know that the things he did to prepare me were what he wanted for me to have. And so I want to always make sure students and people know you have free will. You have a right to choose. And you have a right to be who you are and to pursue happiness. And whatever that looks like for you, it may not necessarily be what your mama wanted to look like. Because I know you look at your parents. There are probably things they want you to go do that you're like, yeah, I don't want to do that. You know, maybe you check the box 98% of the time, but there may be that 2% you're like, I'm not interested in that. And they want that. And that's okay. You don't have to. You have to live this life. You have to walk in these shoes, and as long as you pay your own bills, you can do what you want, right? Most parents will tell you, "You gonna do this," but no, it's totally fine for you not to, for you to have your own way of thinking, and so make sure you keep that in mind. That you want to encourage other people to have that too.
Oh yes, most definitely, like for real. I know in between generations, it could be like a little bit of a struggle trying to communicate in between for like trying to communicate like yourself and like your needs and your wants and just in between. It's just different, Social media age, Generation Z, 90s age, 80s age, 70s age. I can't really guess, like, my parents have got different ages and stuff. So it's like, so it's just like, there's different dynamics. But it's like at the same token, it's just like, trying to build yourself as an individual can be very taxing. And I know you said a whole lot about just like, just how we're just all in a process of healing and everything. And it's just all part of growing up and stuff of that nature. What would you say for like students that are just kind of like in like not in between, but just kind of transitioning? It's just like because I even at this age, like I kind of thought I'd have everything kind of figured out, but now I don't know why. I just thought my whole life afterward was just gonna be just everything gonna just fall in place and everything. I thought by this age everything would just be all together, but I mean it is, but it isn't very much so. What would be like your advice to students that are just kind of like winging it for a little bit? What would be your advice?
I would say you don't have to have all the answers today. You don't have to be, your first year of college and you have it all mapped out, because I can tell you don't. You can have the perfect. There's only one student I ever met, and this young man, when I met him, his first few weeks of college, told me he wanted to be a lawyer. He was determined, and he joined the Student Judicial Board, and he is finishing his last year of law school right now. He gonna be a lawyer, but there was a lot of things he had to learn in between. But my point in saying that is, it is very rare that somebody knows the moment you step into college everything that you want to happen, and then for you to think that everything is going to happen exactly how you think it should. Things are going to change. Your plans may shift a little, even if it's only a little. And sometimes they'll shift a lot. Sometimes you learn yourself after your year and realize, I don't want to do this thing that I thought I wanted to do, my whole life. I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. I thought I wanted to be a vet until I took zoology. One class let me know I was not going to be a vet. I wasn't. And that was in high school, and I really, so. But things are going to shift and change for you. It's okay. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the journey. Along the way is where you're picking up memories, where these are things you're going to look back on and laugh your butt off. And, y'all going to look back on there and be like, remember we were in the Mac and Alejandro was wearing that green sweater with that scarf on his head. This is what the memories are made of. It's the journey, the things that are happening along the way. So take that in. Don't be so focused on checking all these boxes that you miss out on living. Because believe me, as someone who was a box checker, by 23, I had a master's degree. By 24, I was married and living, out of state in a beautiful, beautiful place. And I still had a quarter life crisis. I call it, at 25, I was like, wait, I did all the stuff I was supposed to do correctly. I went to school, I got my degrees, I didn't get pregnant, I married a great man, and I have a comfortable life. And now what? oh, I need more goals. I need to keep elevating. Let me go be the dean. And guess what? That happened. So now what? Now I need to refigure it out. You see? So
That is so true. Like I just realized, like man, like wow, I overcome so much stuff. I managed to become an honor roll student, but there's still like an emptiness there, and I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing to want more for yourself. At the same token, I feel like in my sense, it's like definitely I'm messing up on the romantic side of everything. Like it's desolate. Like I'm hoping things will change up soon. Um, yeah, I could probably get more clothes and everything. Like I like clothes. I want to really focus on my music too for the next couple years. Like I just dropped the mixtape in April and everything, which is kind of late for me in my standard. 'Cause I kind of thought I was gonna start dropping music around 18, 19, and then just kind of keep it going for a couple years. But that wasn't the case. But it's like I still got more time. I'm still pretty young. I'd be thinking I'm old, but it's just like I'm still kind of young. I mean, the cutoff year for this whole music thing is going to be probably 32 for me. Like after 32, I feel like it's time to put it down. But it's like, but that's still like a long ways away. At the same time, that's like, well, okay, that's 9 years. Yeah, I got a cool 9 years. So it's
why
like
32?
I don't know because it's just like at the same token, it's like I'm not like a thug or a gangster, so it's just like it'd be kind of weird like trying to rap like you're just a regular person. At 30, I mean, people like to grow up with the music, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to like get it finished as young as possible. So if I were to set up a fan base and everything, they can grow with me over the years. And then when I start to kind of transition and kind of put the stuff down, they've pretty much reached a time in their age where it's like, wow, like I really used to listen to this person growing up. It's like, yeah, well, I'm kind of at that age now. We're just kind of settling down and whatnot. I mean, so like, it's just a matter of momentum and everything. It's hard to grow with somebody that started like a 30 something. You know what I mean? I'm like, and that's when my main audience would be like people like in high school to college age. That's the kind of my focus right now. That's what I'm shooting, and everything. They're in their 20s or whatever, and it's just stuff like that. It's just a matter of just trying to get things on time as best I can. Which is like I hate myself for not using all that financial aid for just music only, but it's just kind of how it is. Like it's better off now than never. So it's like I'm just keep it going with that.
So to be clear, you're quite young. And what I asked you that question because that's an example of how we put these parameters on ourselves out of nowhere. So now you just adding another stressor of a timeline. So now you beat yourself up for not doing it sooner. And now you're giving yourself only 9 years to be able to accomplish it instead of just, I love music. I want to do music. I want to be successful at music. So I'm just going to work at music and just enjoy making it, enjoy finding people to collab with, enjoy writing it, enjoy figuring out how to get the equipment to enjoy that as opposed to I only have 9 years. No, I get to do this because nothing's stopping me from doing this. Now that's the perspective. We have to lean into that a lot more and we'll find joy way more often when we're not trying to make sure we check a box and do it the right way. It's okay to do it differently than what some people might think you're supposed to do it. Because guess what? You become people when you just conform to it, and now you just people just like everybody's people. So why should somebody else do it the way you say they should do it when it's their life? It's the same concept. So, you know, you don't be able to answer your question earlier. Don't be so concerned about checking the box or having the right answer that you don't live the life that's going to inform you on what you actually want to do. When you explore who you are in a safe way, when you get to know people, when you get involved on campus, when you get your little job at the Starbucks, and when you go to class and you learn and you read and you observe people, you learn the things that help you get to know yourself. And when you get to know yourself, you know what you want more. And then you know what you want to do. But you can't get to the end part of knowing what you want to do without getting to know who you are a little bit and what motivates you and what makes you happy. And that happens along the journey of growing up in this space. You said earlier that people like us who are around you and your friends and all that is even more impacting the family. In reality, it's a sequence. Your family is there to put the foundation down. They're there to raise you and to feed you and to put that foundational things of what they believe. And then when you leave from home, now you have to take what they taught you and take in the world for yourself and determine, what do I believe? I'm taking into account what they taught me. And most of the time you want to be able to lean on with your parents, the good stuff that they told you, but also you lean on that, but you are building and learning for yourself. That's what's supposed to happen. So even though stuff gets hard, know that you're right where you're supposed to be, and you're growing how you're supposed to be growing. And even though you're experiencing challenges, you're going to overcome those, but don't put limitations on yourself, because we sabotage ourselves often by doing that. So don't, 'cause you don't have to. You don't have to have the answers today, but you can't stop living. So you keep pushing and keep enjoying and living and exploring in a safe way yourself, so you can get that direction.
Well, yeah, no, most definitely, man. Most definitely. I feel like you touched on a whole lot of bases, man. I know, like, it's just like, especially it's great hearing a lot of these words because, like, I'm still in like some transitional phase myself, man. Like, I'm telling you, there's like a sense where like I know things are gonna be all right, but there's just this sadness of just like all the things I missed out on, like just a 5 year span ago from 18 to now. Because I thought when I graduated high school, I thought everything was just going to be like, I thought my life had begun. Like, oh, wow, things are going to be different. I can leave this lame school. I can be open to the world. Things are going to be fine. And then something hit me like this with the medical condition. And I didn't know what to do. And it's just, I'm just trying to seek out answers as best I can. Things were so messed up. You end up paying $100 to somebody to look at cars to see the future, man. It's just like, it'd be that bad. He said a lot of positive things and everything. I know, like, a lot of the spiritual guides I go to, like, 'cause sometimes I'll be trying to go to different ones just to see if, like, they're saying, like, the same thing. It's just like maybe somebody might say one thing, somebody might say another thing and whatnot. And say, like, they usually say the same thing about, I'm going to live a long life. Even before I even ask. I don't even ask sometimes. It's to be like, yeah, you're going to live, like, up to 80, 90 years old and everything. You are going to find a wife. You're going to have children that love you and stuff of that nature. You're going to get over this issue. You're going to everything's going to be just fine and everything, You're going to become a leader in your community. I'm Liberian and everything. It's just my dream to help my people as best I can. And it's like, I always feel like, there's always the sense that maybe I'm just not good enough, maybe I'm just not smart enough, or maybe I'm just not as honorable enough to lead my people. Although it's just, all I do is like I mean well for like them as best I can, and that's just all. Like my dream is like, to do so well in business or to bring so much profit in, whether if it's in music or however. So that I can be able to start several businesses so that when people leave Liberia and they come to the States, they already have a job set up for them. And then their kids can go to school here, and then their kids can go to college and everything, and then we can just keep it going for generations and generations. So, just trying to build wealth and bring it, just maintain it within the community as best we can, so we can better compete with other like the Vietnamese, the Koreans. So it could be us owning the corner stores and everything, and it would really help us like with African and Black American relations too. If instead of they had the corner stores and everything by Vietnamese and the Koreans and the the Jewish folk and everything, if it was just Africans running all these stores for a while, it would help our relations. One, it will probably help connect us back home too, in that sense. So that's just the future I would want to like set seeds to kind of establish in the future. So, but it's like, it's always an issue within our community where we're always trying to compete with each other, people fighting, people don't want people to do well and everything. And it's something that even stretches back home and stuff of that nature. So you end up having a lot of folk trying to really, really, in a sense, just kind of hinder your growth. And it can be dangerous too, because like sometimes they will try to like put spells on people too.
You have to close the door. I want to go vacuum.
He vacuums here?
He does.
How often?
I want to say at least a couple. I hear him at least a couple times a week. I don't know if he's supposed to do it every day, but he vacuums all the time.
Alejandro is actually really disciplined. Like,
Yeah,
like
he
something
is.
aside. Like, I feel like that's like his. Cause I know I had him on an episode on one of the Mental Thugs podcasts and everything. Dude is really. I feel like what his family really like conditioned him to seriously be disciplined, to really hold his values as consistent as possible. So I always
Yeah.
found that, I always admired that about him. I always thought that was pretty cool and
What's cool is
everything.
there's so much to all of y'all that y'all don't necessarily. Some of y'all see. I think a lot of times good guys peep good guys. I noticed that about y'all. Like y'all see each other in the different ways that even I wouldn't be able to see you. Like you. I seriously hear y'all through the wall all the time. Like I hear what y'all talking about, and I was, and this is your space. So even though my office is in here, I try to make sure I respect the fact that y'all are supposed to be, talking and learning, whatever. And so, but like all I hear is Alejandro all the time, just yelling, arguing, going back and forth. But I also see him once y'all leave, vacuuming, picking up, making sure the lights are off, making sure the door is closed, make sure I'm good before he leaves. Y'all may not see that part, but I see that too. So I'm like, you know what? Again, there's not just one party. There's so many different sides and pieces to you that make up the one person, and that's the beauty of it. That's the dope part of it is knowing that. So yeah, he be out there vacuuming. I can bet you that's Alejandro.
You can tell that he was raised by like a good family though, for sure, man, because they can really like, I don't want to say immerse, like I don't want to say erase, like instill values in you where you carry it even in college and everything. It'd be a struggle for me to clean up my own room. I'm gonna be honest, man. It's like it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get it today. I'm gonna start a little bit today, and then maybe a little bit tomorrow, and then a little bit. Like literally, literally, it'd be like that. I need to really cut that out for real. Cause I'm gonna start moving to an apartment soon and everything. That was Alejandro at the door too.
No, that was Dr. Heath.
Oh, that was Dr. Heath. Okay, then we don't want to stay too long. I know we tried to do this for like 30 minutes, but it's like it's already been an hour.
Oh goodness! And I have class here shortly.
What time do your class start?
It starts at 4, so I like to be there around actually 3. I usually go over there at 3, but I started a little late with you, so I wanted you to have the time that you needed.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we need to start like closing it in though, because it's like you've really put out a whole lot of insights. It's crazy. And this is a really really good episode. I try to get like Dr. Heath to go past 30 minutes. I'm like, man, ain't nobody trying to do past 30 minutes.
It's tough. It can be tough to itch that time out, but people did that for me when I was in school. I honestly don't know how the man. His name is Cedric Gathings. He was our mentor. I don't know how he got work done. We were always sitting in his office trying to talk to him. Kind of how y'all do, Dr. Heath. So I don't know how he got anything done, but I want to end by just letting you know all the adversity and all of those things. Know that you're gonna get on the other side of that. These things, even though in the midst of it, it's like, why is this happening? This sucks. Why is it happening to me? I don't want to be feeling this. The benefits that come with what you learn about yourself and what you gain, all that comes into the good stuff that happens on the other side. So when you do meet your wife and you do develop your relationship and you do get married, you do have your children, the value that you're going to place on that and the way you're going to treat them and care for them is going to be so deeply ingrained that legacy is going to live on through the love that you're going to put into your family and the joy that you have for having them and the appreciation for your wife. So she then becomes a better person because the amount of love that's being poured into her. So, and that's just one example of how it's going to manifest. And it's like, yeah, this, the things that are happening and the where you are right now, but just know that you're going to come out on the other side of this struggle. It's not going to be raining forever, period. It's not. As long as you can stick through and be resilient, you're going to come out on the winning end of this. Okay.
Yeah, man, I really, really hope so for sure, man. Because it's like all I want is really just to be like, to be I don't want to say a testament, but just to be like, I don't want to say like a bright and shining light, but I just want to just lead my people into the future, like friends, my community, my family, and everything. And I want to start my family on my own and everything. And I just want to be an honorable husband. I want to be a great husband. I want to just be somebody that I can really like, balance my wife out. Because that's like I always feel like I grew up in circles of toxicity too, and I just want to break that cycle and everything. I feel like my brother's pretty much getting on the right way and everything, and it's really just my sense of just trying to figure everything else out and trying to figure like what works best. So like in terms of just like how I express myself, how to carry myself, how to like heal myself from my past and not let it like drag into other things. So when you're unhealed, it starts dragging and bleeding into your relationships too. And I just don't want to do that and everything. So it's all just a process and everything. But I do thank you, Miss or Dean Joy Hartfield. I want to always try to push Dean, especially when I talk to Dr. Hugh. I always say doctor, because y'all really did earn y'all positions. I don't want to make it seem like it's nothing. So, but I really do thank you for the conversation. It was wonderful. This is a great episode. This is episode, 46? Yeah, 46. This is 46th episode. 4 more episodes till 50. You're helping me on my way. Miss, if you want to leave any last words for the audience, please.
Well, I'm glad I can help you on your way to 50. But again, you all just persevere. Just know that, there's always going to be that sunshine that comes out. No matter how dark it is, that darkness won't last always. And I'm excited for your future. I'm excited for the great things that you are going to encounter moving forward. And congratulations on being a resilient young man. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you. You really think I could actually do some good things?
I know you will do good things, without a doubt, dear. Without a doubt.
Is it an energy thing?
I know it, and the only difference is between you have vision. I meant to say that earlier is that when you have vision like that, all you're missing is the belief and the absolute confidence of knowing you will achieve that vision. So once you have the confidence within you, that's the only thing that could possibly stop you. You believing it. And so that confidence is more than a key. It's everything. And you believe it, you have the vision, you work towards it, you can have it. So, but you have to have those 3 things. Is that hard work to make it happen, and the perseverance. You have to have the vision, and you have to believe you can achieve it.
All right, cool.
Now, you can't miss that belief part, because that'll break you. But once you believe it, there's nobody who can stop you, dear. And I know that with all my heart.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. That is it for the 46th episode of the Mental Threads podcast. Yeah, we are sewing in and now sewing out. Thank you very much, Miss Hartfield. Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Thank you.
All right, take care, y'all.